Well, welcome everyone to our Tuesday evening Ask the Doc call. It's such a pleasure to see you all this evening. My name is Lynn Matthews, and I am so excited about what you're going to learn, especially if this is your first dive into this world of redox. We know now that redox is the energy that powers all life and that nothing happens in the body without it. So you're going to learn about a company who has harnessed that energy in a way that can really impact our lives and help us create very, very vibrant lives. People come to look at this for a number of reasons, and it is our intention tonight to touch on those reasons. But as Dr. Hoffman is going through her explanation of this, it's really important that you put your questions in the chat because we really want you to get your questions answered. One of the big reasons people look at this is because they have a health challenge and they're trying to see where this might fit in to their plan. You know, could it be a potential solution or part of the solution? Or maybe you're here because it's a friend or a loved one and you're researching it for their health challenge. There's many people who just want to stay vibrant as they move through those older years. And so they're looking at it more to be proactive. And we're going to touch on that as well. And then there's still others that love the athletic benefits. And all of us, you don't have to be an Olympic athlete or a world-class athlete to want more endurance, more energy, right? More mental stamina. And so we'll look at that as well. And then everyone on this call is a day older than they were yesterday, and none of us can do anything about time marching on. So the anti-aging aspects of this are quite intriguing. And I'm not talking about just the external benefits, which are amazing, especially with the new skincare line, but also things like, you know, recovering faster from things, having energy, getting better sleep, etc. So we'll go into those anti-aging benefits as well. And then the last one, you know, anytime that you have a discovery, a breakthrough of this magnitude, there is a business opportunity that is presented with it. So again, we're going to talk about all these different aspects of this. And I would tell you, you know, if you're not here to learn about the athletics or the business part, don't leave here thinking about that. Take what you were meant to hear, because I believe everyone comes to these calls because they were meant to learn something, whether it's for yourself or someone in your life. So just take what you were meant to hear and leave the rest. But do get your questions answered. That's very, very important to us. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Carolyn Hoffman, a dear friend and colleague. Dr. Hoffman is a traditional naturopath. She's been practicing for over 25 years. She has worked in a lot of different, you know, functional medical clinics. She's had her own private practice, and she is on the medical professional board for this company, which is a volunteer position. So she understands this at a depth that most of us do not. And one of the things I love about Dr. Hoffman is her ability to just so eloquently describe what this is in terms that all of us can understand. So Dr. Hoffman, I am going to turn this over to you.
Certainly, Lynn, thank you so much. I want to welcome everybody to the call this evening and say thank you for taking your time out to learn something about this amazing area of how our health is governed, basically. I'm going to share my screen and go through some information for you. And I want to give you the chance to kind of look and listen to some things that I hope from this. Lynn, can you tell me, because I've lost the view of everybody there. Let me see. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Wonderful. So we are diving into this area of redox. And why is that? Because redox is basically this mechanism that is very much the key to our health and our longevity. And my goal on what I'm going to do is talk about all of those aspects. And I hope to be able to give you a sense of what it is, you know, how it functions in our body, what that means for us, and how it can help us in our long-term health with this development. And Lynn is going to power on from there for the other sides of things. So let's just start with this whole thing. You know, W. Daniel Hills really nails this mechanism of the human body, this conversation within these 70 to 100 trillion cells that actually make up the conversation within the cells and between the cells, and they do these two things. They either talk about growth or death. And basically when we're sick, it means that something has gone wrong with that conversation. Now, that conversation is powered by this thing called redox biology, to be exact. And we're going to show you two aspects of redox: drinking pure redox to replenish and to rebuild our supply, which helps us to rejuvenate our cells and our energy supply, and then reactivate to a healthy level of function within the cells. And then we're also going to look at the other way. We're going to show you how taking specific ingredients, we can, through science itself, actually target redox principles for the outcome that we want for our health. Now, redox is, in essence, the electrical supply for the whole house. You're very familiar with these in your house: the electrical supply board, the mains power coming in, and then the wires that lead all over the house to make sure that everything has energy. And drinking pure redox itself gives us more power and a stronger network communication for every single cell in the body. Now, powered by redox is the switch to turn on the lights, so to speak, or a receptacle in a specific room. So it has a very targeted focus. Now, scientifically, certain nutrients can activate targeted redox signals by docking onto unique receptors on our cells. And that lock and key mechanism really creates an action that kind of passes through the cell and triggers a redox reaction. So this is the powered by redox mechanism. And the basis of the new products that ASEA has launched are based on this powered by redox function. So let's talk first about where is redox made. Well, actually, using the saline within every single cell, we have 100 million billion mitochondria that make ATP, energy for the body. And they also make these reductants and oxidants. They're doing this literally every second of the day, of every day of our life. And we came into this world in conception because of a redox reaction. We'll actually go out of this world when we cease to make these within the human body, because we no longer have energy to power life. And in between, health and life itself is simply determined by a supply of redox on a regular basis. In the 1970s, science actually identified that these cellular signals weren't useless, but were essential for us to live. And in 1998, a Nobel Prize was awarded to these three scientists for identifying the first redox signaling molecule, nitric oxide, and with its benefits for cardiovascular health. Now, since 2000, scientists meet on annual world conferences to share the latest in their research of redox. Universities worldwide are actually having research into redox, or departments dedicated to research, because it literally involves every single cell of the body. So this is a vast area of health science. PubMed has something in the region of 370,000 peer-reviewed studies. And if you go to Google Scholar, not Google, which is not an actual research engine, just a search engine for all sorts of information, but a research engine is Google Scholar, and you'll see is close to 3 million and more, depending upon what you're researching. But if you look at the word redox, it's about 2.7 million studies. And we have a great bank of published studies in terms of books as well. Redox molecules have actually been generated in small machines, providing us with the 30 years of science about their function. Now, their lifespan, however, in these little machines that would make these molecules is pretty brief, no more than about 30 minutes. And it was always considered completely impossible to be able to stabilize them outside the human body because they're very fleeting in their nature. In 2007, scientists actually took 10 years of published research at that point, patented research, and off that researched exactly to find out what this patented research was all about, establishing that it was redox molecules, and doing what was considered impossible by stabilizing these signals to a lifespan of 15 months. That was a complete category creator in the field that we're in. Now, if we look here, ASEA's Redox patented breakthrough ships directly to consumers in 33 countries from our global distribution center. And that facility you're looking at is based in Utah. At the end of a 3.5-day process, the ASEA Redox is no longer the salt and water, which is the ingredients listed on the bottle. There's actually a minimal amount of salt left, which is really only used for pH balancing and for conductivity. And by the time we're finished, the average sodium consumption in the average consumption of ASEA Redox is really no more than the equivalent of a half a carrot a day. So it's safe for everyone if you are on a sodium restricted diet. You know, we meet the highest production standards and third-party validation, such as the prestigious Bioagilytics laboratory out of North Carolina. And that guarantees for all of us as consumers that we're not buying salt and water, which is that whole misnomer that we see very much on our Google search engine, not research engine. But what we have here is patented and approved and stabilized and tested and third-party validated redox signaling molecules. The safety studies on this product itself actually show us a number of things that are really significant for us. It's totally non-toxic. So in other words, it's totally safe for everyone. We can't be allergic to it because as we speak, we're generating these signals as our pets and plants. And we can't be allergic to something that we already have innately within us. But I think the most significant thing that I found as a practitioner is that it is also transparent to medication. What does that mean? If you're on any kind of medication whatsoever, this is not going to interfere with that. It means that you can safely add this into your regime and just watch what happens. And so there are no drug interactions, which give us this beautiful safety record. Now, by 2016, redox signaling technology was actually being featured in this article in the Huffington Post. They were actually discussing 5 game-changing technologies that were going to shape our future. But here we have this real focus on ASEA and this ability to be able to insert healthy redox signaling molecules into our body, helping us to repair and replenish our aging cells. Now, to this day, ASEA not only created this category within stabilized redox signaling, but they're still the only company in the market. Because our patented technology does not allow reverse engineering, no one can copy what we're doing. Now, health is basically redox homeostasis, which means nothing more than balancing oxidants and antioxidants to control damaged cells within the body. Now, when we're young, our supply of antioxidants meets the demand for healing. And we recover quickly, you know, we heal fast, we look and we feel great. Everybody knows that. Look at those children we have, you know, those grandchildren we have. Anyone who's a lot younger than us looks and feels better than we do as we get older. Now, as long as our supply and our demand for cellular communication are balanced, we're going to remain symptom-free and hopefully disease-free. And it's what people mostly think of as being their proof that they are healthy. But here's the challenge. Redox production actually slows by 1% per year from puberty. So that aging silently begins pretty early on. And by the time we're 35, that tipping point has really gone too far. And so we really spend most of our time for the rest of our lives struggling in how to restore the balance that we naturally had when we were younger. Cellular communication begins to weaken with age, and this is where we slowly but steadily lose the war on aging, right? The redox balance diminishes, the cells weaken, the healing slows down, and of course, symptoms begin to appear. Now, how do we know that we're out of balance? How do we know our supply and demand are out of balance? Well, it's because symptoms are really just the sign of damaged or unhealthy cells that are out of control. And the older we are, the more diseases we have as a result of this imbalance taking place. So oxidant damage or inflammation begins with age to overwhelm the supply of reductants, these antioxidants. And research, interestingly, tells us that disease starts in our cells 8 years before we actually have a diagnosis. So there's a lot happening below the surface that we may not even know about until it's already too late. So when somebody bases health on a lack of symptoms, I know that they really aren't taking into consideration truly what propels disease and where the dysfunction begins. Now, redox is in and controls every single cell of the body. Therefore, every condition that we can think of involves redox because every condition involves a cell. And so regardless of whether, we're suffering from stiff joints or digestive problems or simply just a lack of energy, our redox is out of balance as a result of that. Now, the principles that dictate redox as a whole are 4 areas. One is gene regulation. That's the expression of our DNA, making sure that we replicate accurately those outcomes that we need to stay healthy. Cell protection, making sure that our lifespan of a healthy cell can live its normal life without going wrong. Repair and recovery, what we understand as healing, and adaptive response, which is our immune system's natural defense mechanism that defends us against environmental damages and viruses and bacteria. Basically, it's our soldiers at the gate, so to speak. Now, double-blind clinical research study on ASEA itself actually shows us that as soon as we drink it, it's changing 100% of our blood serum markers. In other words, we may not feel that, but we know that it's already changing things. It protects the oxidization of LDL and DNA. We activate these things called NRF2 pathways, which is how we boost our antioxidant enzymes from inside the cells. Now, glutathione goes up as much as 800%, superoxide dismutase 500%. And the redox principle of gene protection shows that we can improve genetic signaling by as much as 20 to 31%. The 100% of the participants in this double-blind gene study at TAUERET Labs were using ASEA for an 8-week period. And they had, those people on the ASEA redox had 100% improvement in these gene signals. There was a 0% response with saline, kind of interesting. The participants were considered healthy at 35, that tipping point where our redox starts to alter. Now, they didn't think there was anything wrong with them, right? We don't feel those changes taking place, but their blood serum markers showed that their genes were already beginning to turn off. And these are the 5 areas that we mapped fully and fully understood, even though our system actually upregulated and improved every single gene marker that we have. So we did things like improve and maintain a healthy immune response, maintain a healthy inflammatory response. Those first 2 areas are going to affect every single thing in our health and really are totally important for any one of us who's got something that we don't feel is perfect. Right, we help to maintain healthy cardiovascular health or vein elasticity, improve gut health and digestive enzyme production, and also to be able to maintain hormone balance and modulate vitality and wellness. Now, epigenetics is this hallmark that is the focus for everyone who wants to biohack their way basically to a long and healthy lifestyle. And so this is a really important study in which we know we're impacting and improving how genes signal for every single one of us if we consume ASEA. Now, to show you the gene signaling pathway, each gene pathway basically unlocks multiple doors to multiple other functions. And so it's not just one name. It affects things like mood. It affects things like sleep, cognitive health. The NRF2 pathway is our antioxidants that go up in every cell. Those are the most potent ones we have, and there are no amount of antioxidant supplements that we can take that will match the millions of antioxidants that we naturally produce in our cells when we're working at peak performance. If you want to be strong, you need to make sure that they're really working as hard as they can. So there's a huge amount of implications here from just one single gene signaling method. Now, Redox actually powers the Olympic and professional athletes with proven benefits from studies done at Appalachian Human Performance Labs in North Carolina, seeing things like a 29% increase in endurance and performance, 12% faster VO2 uptake, max how we absorb and use oxygen quicker, uptakes and improvements in metabolites, and a huge lot more. But let me ask you a question. How would your life be different if you had more energy? If you could hurt less, if you had sharper mental focus, for example, could you stop maybe being so much of a participator and spectator in your life rather, and actually participate much more effectively if those things could help you really get back in the game of life? What would look different for you if you could have more of those things? In the same way that it's powering these athletes, we can use the same benefits with the ASEA technology. If you want to know more about how it actually affects so many areas of athletic performance, take a look at athleteedge.com. Now, our liquid Redox replenishes the cells from the inside, but 5 years of research actually brought this topical application called Renew 28. So this is Redox from the outside to complement what we rebuild on the inside. And it's designed for all over body skin priming. So it's not just for our face, even though most of us love that because it's the face of who we are and it's the things that people see. And so we always think of that as the anti-aging piece, but this is about all over skin. Remember, skin is our largest organ of our body. So we have as much as a 16% increase in skin cell renewal. That's going to help us stay younger and support the skin to heal quicker as we age. Think about it, when we're younger, we heal faster for all those reasons of skin cell turnover. But even things like 50% improvement in blood flow would be enormously important to delivering to the health of the skin and improving things over the long haul. And I would just point out that all of this comes from just 4 simple ingredients. I don't actually know any other product on the market that can boast that. But let's take a look at a few of the 28-day clinical study trial results. You'll see we support the things that we talk about: tone, elasticity in the skin, reducing that internal oxidation that's going on, which causes all this redness on the face, improving the depth of wrinkles. All of those are statistical, and here we have the before and after photos. Seeing is always an important feature. But let me ask you a question, because this product is designed, as we said, for anti-aging and for skin benefits. You've just seen the study results there. But I want to ask you, where do you hurt? Because using it this way was the piece that actually drew me in and made me really convinced that there was something very unique about what we had here that could definitely help every single one of my patients who had anything that hurt. I don't know if you've not tried this. If you haven't tried this, and maybe you have something that hurts, just think about what that is. Is it your neck, your shoulders, your back? Is it being able to walk upstairs, get in and out of chairs, run, play tennis, any of those things that you want to do in order to be fully functional in your life that currently are holding you back? Rate whatever that is on a 0 to 10. Obviously 0 is not really there, right? A 1 would be slightly insignificant, but 10 would be really, really severe. Maybe it would take you to the hospital. And I want you to get hold of a tube of this if you don't have it. Shake it, because it is the liquid with an inert silica clay in there. And I want you to see that this is a totally clear product. And I want you, having rated your level of discomfort, let's suppose you can't clench your fist and this is as far as you can get, take photos of how far you can move. Maybe you can't raise your shoulder and your arm up. Maybe you've got a restriction in your neck. Test those things out, take a photo to see where your limits are, and then take the gel and apply it to that area. And here's the trick. I want you to see that it's just very light and clear. It's very absorbable. You don't have to actually rub it in till it's absorbed. It's already working because we're working on how our cells communicate, not about absorption of a product. That is very different. And apply it 3 times in 5 minutes. Wait 5 minutes and come back and see what's happened. You know, one thing that David Silverman, Dr. Silverman, did when I went to an event to learn about this was he put this in on a lot of people, and uniformly I saw some amazing shifts in that level of discomfort or things that couldn't move. And it really fascinated me how something that starts from salt and water could have such a huge impact for people. So I was curious, but I asked every single one of my patients if I could test this out on them and get some feedback from them. And in the meeting, Dr. Silverman said, you know, you may be surprised and you may see as many as 9 out of 10 people see some kind of shift. That might be a complete resolution of their discomfort. It may not. It may be a movement from a 7 to a 4 or a 7 to a 3 or a 6 to a 2. But he said, go test it and build your belief, because you're not going to see a change in 10 minutes when we drink. But we can see when we use this how fast the body can respond and make use of it. And I found uniformly it wasn't 7 out of 10, it wasn't 8 out of 10, it wasn't even 9 out of 10. It literally was 10 out of 10 people in my practice all saw a benefit that really convinced me this was a very unique and unusual way to be able to support the body, to open up a conversation that it's naturally designed to have. It's just lost its way. I will tell you, this is not an analgesic, right? We are not using things like icy hot. We're not giving it some kind of medication that suffocates the pain, right? We are actually giving you redox signaling molecules to open up that conversation within the cells so the body can operate and activate again its own inner doctor. So go take notice of that and try it on your friends. That's really a great way to find out and watch what happens while you're waiting for your own outcome with the liquid. Now, ASEA is not nutrition. Nutrition provides us the materials to activate and target specific actions within the cells, but we cannot use one without the other. We need this partnership. And therefore, if currently you're taking lots and lots of nutritional supplements, I would say that you're missing the other half of the equation for getting to where you want to get to. Today's food lacks nutrients. It's just not out there, no matter how cautious we are about what we eat. And so for daily support, we have a synergistic whole food, organic and non-GMO. And with the exception of the omega product, which does come from fish, everything is vegan. This is a featured line here that works synergistically with the Redox, and it's going to provide you with foundational nutrients, essential nutrients, complex nutrients, superfoods, minerals, healthy oils and enzymes, everything that we need to really plug in what's missing from our daily diet. Redox, as we love to say, is the labor. It's the things that make things happen. It's the sparks. Remember, it's the energy and the electricity. But the materials are what we put together with the Redox in order to build the health of the cell. And one can't function without the other. Powered by Redox, using these principles of being powered by Redox, we have 3 cell performance products that are new to the market. Now, if you fight with things like fatigue, or you suffer from foggy thinking, or you feel very overwhelmed and burdened by life as a whole, you know, based on these Redox principles, these are easy to use and they're designed to be on the go products. You take them with you and use these powders and mix them with water. You can mix them with other nutrients, things that you enjoy, other drinks. It doesn't specifically have to be in water, but water is kind of how they've been designed. And you can just drink them on the go. And what they're going to do is deliver specifically targeted redox reactions to provide us with more energy, to help us clear that thinking and improve our focus, or to reduce our stress and be able to help us kind of handle living and stay at our best. And these are amazingly powerful products. We're already seeing some phenomenal outcomes, especially if you have people who are very challenged by feeling overwhelmed or anxiety, any of those things. The mood is just showing all sorts of incredible results. Now, on March the 11th, the Journal of Antioxidants actually published a review article on skin aging and redox balance. This research included 2 of our Science Council members. And this groundbreaking research is the basis of our new Renew Advanced Skincare line. You know, Renew Advanced is always clinically tested, dermatologically tested, and like all of our products, it provides a 30-day money-back guarantee. And this is a 4-step process that prepares and primes our skin for beauty as well as for skin health, which starts much deeper. These products anchor around the flagship delivery product, the Renew 28, which is pure redox. And these 4 products themselves are powered through redox principles that help to support the skin barrier function, so we have more resilient looking skin, maintain balance for hydration. That's always going to be important for beautiful looking skin that's nourished. Reduce the look of the fine lines and wrinkles for keeping us looking more youthful. And in its principles of redox, protects the skin from environmental stressors that may cause and dry out skin. So that goes back to those 4 principles of cell protection and also the adaptogen process for keeping us healthy and safe. Now, the downhill slope of aging looks exactly like this, right? Looking and feeling older as we go, because basically the demand for redox and the supply for redox hasn't been matched. This is already just diminishing. Now, rebuilding our supply to meet our demand may show some quick changes, but it may also take longer because health isn't a sudden overnight thing. It's not a quick fix. Now, damaged cells, and much like that damaged plant, right, which has really gone too far, needs to be eliminated and they have to regrow. We need regrowth to take place. And that's the same for a plant as it is for a human body. Rebuilding health takes time. There is no magic bullet and there is no pill for an ill. And I know everybody loves this. They all want to swap out a drug and pop in a supplement and they want it to do it in a week or a month and everything should be solved. But life is not like that. Health is not like that. No more than would we expect that plant to turn around in a week and suddenly be as blooming and as green as it is on the right? Our health is not going to do that either. We have to be patient. However, redox signaling does not treat anything. It's simply going to provide the cells the power to reestablish our inner doctor, the natural ability to heal ourselves. And so consistency and time to rebuilding the signaling within our cells and reactivate our cells is absolutely important until we see the changes that we want. And every person is going to use and consume a different quantity depending upon their personal journey. So when we do replenish redox on a daily basis, we literally can interrupt the breakdown of the damage and the aging of cells and turn back the clock. And this is a beautiful example of Rosie, who at 84 started this process and has gradually been reversing and turning back the clock, not literally anti-aging, reversing aging. And I will tell you, I've got no other product that I've ever worked with in 22 years that literally can take somebody at 84 and make them look at least 10 years younger by the time they're 91. I mean, you know, you tell me if you've ever seen anything like that. But bottom line is, the more redox we have, just as we did when we were younger, the younger our body can look and feel. So if you are anxious to look at what else it might do for you, because we've all got specific things we're interested in, take a look at the ASEA Healthy Self. I looked at it the other day. I think it's 197,700 people now in that group. And you can research there any symptom that you can think of, and it'll pull it up, all of the stories that are being posted in there. Redox results, we played one of those stories as we started. I think that was number 6 with Leland Duck. But on those blue buttons, you can click on those and it'll take you to the videos related to those challenges that you may feel are interesting to you. And lastly, Dr. David Silverman has given us the gettingyongerclub.com. I don't care what age you are, we all want to stay and look and feel younger as we age, right? And if you're only in your 30s, you have no idea what it's going to be like to get to another 30 years later. Believe me, start now is the thing. This beautiful collection will enable you to go to look at the story behind why this was not sold to a pharmaceutical company, tour the FDA facility, take a look about, that takes you back to the real redox, want to learn more about redox signaling. Who are we as medical professionals? There's a lot of information on there. So I'm going to stop the share and come back to Lynn, because I want to ask you, Lynn, to take up the other part of what we have here. I've really covered those reasons that we use this product technology, but what about, what's the company about? Why are we not? We linked there to the fact that we were going to be sold as a pharmaceutical, right? Why are we not? Because that does influence our story about where we are, and why for you, probably like many of us, I don't believe you came for the business, right? We talk about this business thing, but to me, the business is nothing more than sharing a product that can help other people. And if we share and we care about something that's important and can be influential, as a result of it, we generate things, right? But we don't go into it because of that. I'm going to ask you, I think, to take over that story for us.
I would love to. I think it's a fascinating backstory. They were approached by a pharmaceutical company who offered the founder of this company a very, very large sum of money. But when he went to look at the contract, there was a piece of the contract that said that anybody that was already using it had to come off and it would not be available to them ever. And the gentleman, Vertus Norton, he had a focus group of people who were trying it out with all different things happening in their health, just to see if they would drink it, what would happen. And those people started giving it to friends, family members, etc. And there were 6 people that he had given it to who had literally life-changing and perhaps even life-saving stories that they said it was because of this liquid that they had been given. And so when he told the pharmaceutical company that, he really wanted some people to still be able to have it, they said, absolutely not. And he said, morally, ethically, I can't do this. I cannot take this away from these people. And he turned down the offer, which I don't know about myself. I don't know about anyone on this call. It was, legacy money that he would never have had to work. His family would have never had to work. But he felt so strongly, morally and ethically, that he couldn't take it away from these people, that he turned that down and he started looking at ways to bring it to market. He felt that this would be his legacy to humanity. He felt that strongly about it. He knew that this was something that could help every single person on the planet. And so he started to look at different distribution methods. And he had been in a Fortune 50 company as the vice president of international strategy. I mean, brilliant gentleman. And he landed on word of mouth, direct marketing, not his first choice, because he really thought, like many people, it has a negative connotation. But when he really researched that distribution method, he thought this was perfect for this, because as you probably have surmised from Dr. Hoffman sharing this with us, you can't just put this on a shelf. People will look at the label and say, salt water, why do I need to buy salt water? Even though it's got Redox certified as a label, a stamp on the bottle, most people don't know what Redox is yet. So it really wouldn't be meaningful to them. So it required a method of distribution where people could share experiences and educate others like we're doing tonight. And so he picked this amazing method, which I had never been involved in before, to be honest. And you're right, I came in because my daughter had a serious health challenge. And when she recovered from that, we just kind of thought, what have we stumbled on? And I taught yoga and a trained yoga teacher. So I was always around people who were looking to improve their health or to be proactive. And I just started to kind of organically tell people about it because I had seen things happen, never really thinking about it as a true business for the first few years, to be honest. And then I went, like many of us did, to a conference to meet the people behind the scenes. I wanted to meet the founders. I wanted to meet the CEO. I wanted to meet other people who had decided to dedicate part of their life to sharing this with others. And I came away from that meeting just really astounded. They opened it up a day early and they spent 8 hours talking about the ethos of this company, the culture of the company. And that culture really got its roots when Vertus Norton turned down that pharmaceutical company because of his ethics and his morals. And you see that deeply ingrained in this company and their culture. They are all about humanity. They're about helping other people. They're about helping us, grow as human beings. It's not about how many sales did you make? It's like, how many lives have you touched? Have you brought value to the world? And I remember walking away thinking, I was just at a corporate meeting and not once did they really talk about go out there and sell, sell, sell. It was all about your own personal growth. And that really touched me. And that honestly, and I think you could say the same thing, I will always, always take these products. They are incredible. There's nothing like them. But I stayed with this as a business because number one, the people who are involved are just second to none. They're the kind of people that you want your kids to be around. They're the kind of people you want to call friends. So that's been a big part for me, but also just being able to have an impact beyond, the little impact I could have in my own world. And this gives me a platform to do that because it's like a ripple effect. You tell some people who tell some people, and suddenly you've got people all over the world who you might never meet. And their lives are changing because you opened your mouth and said something to just a handful of people. And so that is why I am still doing this. It's a company that has the right thought process, where people and principles and purpose are at the top of their list. So as a company itself, for those of you who are looking at this for that final reason, the business opportunity, I would say there's a few things that I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. I've had different businesses and looked at a lot of businesses. So there's a few things I think you always have to look at whenever you're evaluating and analyzing a business that you might get involved with. And the first is, how long has it been around and is it stable? The company's been around, the products have been around for 12 years and the company's been around about 14 years. And they have been debt-free and profitable since year one. There are not a lot of companies that can say that. They have no long-term debt. They finance everything organically. They own all the technology. They own the facility where the Redox is created. And they are in 33 countries right now around the world. So that's a box that you can check right off the bat. The other thing is, if you're looking at a company that has a product, how is that product differentiated in the marketplace? Is it unique? Is it high impact? Is it affordable? Is it what they call consumable, meaning that people are going to continue to take it? It's not just a one and done purchase. And again, ASEA has checked all those boxes. There has been no one in 12 years able to reverse engineer or even come up with the science and the algorithms possible to take saline and convert it into redox molecules. So that's a huge, huge differentiator when you're looking at businesses with that business cap on. And then finally, I would say, look at the people who are running the ship. There's a lot of tools in place, incredible training, those types of things are there, but who's running the ship? What are the founders like? What is the CEO like? And I can tell you, having met them many, many times, that their hearts are in the right place and their strategies are in the right place. Everything they do is looking to the future. They want this company to be around in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So if you want to do an even deeper dive on the business, because I know we want to get to some questions and there's several that have come up. On Saturday mornings, Dr. David Silverman, who is a colleague of Dr. Hoffman's on the medical board, he at 9:30 East Coast time, from 9:30 to 10, he just answers questions about the product. And then we shift at 10 o'clock and we will talk strictly about the business. So please join us this Saturday. I know I'll be on this Saturday with Dr. Silverman, and we are all about the business from 10 to 10:30. So come with your questions. But right now, Dr. Hoffman, I want to bring you back in here so that we can, I know a couple came to me directly, and I know there's some in the main chat, but one question